What's up, guys?
Hey guys,
We are back again.
hey, back at it again.
It's been long.
It's been too long. I
In
tell
fact,
you. In fact, but that's why we had to decide we have to come back bigger and better.
Yeah, don't shame us.
No,
Don't shame us. You understand?
you must be shamed. Natalie,
Don't
where
shame
have we
us.
been?
Where have we been?
Where have we been?
We have been exercising adulthood. That is what we have been doing. Pertaining in, profit-making ventures. Yes.
Partaking in profit-making ventures.
We must eat.
Or is it suffering? For 19 years, we have suffered.
12 years a slave. All the things.
We have suffered.
All the things. But we have been figuring out our lives.
In fact, in the first take, you were telling us how we had even bought equipment. This equipment has been in the making for how long?
Since May, imagine.
5 months.
Yeah, we were like, it's happening. Because, the one thing is we wanted to do is we don't want to keep giving you the same content. We kind of want to elevate the content we are giving you every single time.
But then again, it was timely because the owner of Instagram was like, now we are moving on to visual content. How did you take that one even? I was fine, but Natalie...
the graphic designer in me was having a mental breakdown. I was like, I love graphics. You understand?
Let's just be in the background.
In fact, now that I'm looking, guys, I make a phone in silent. Guys.
Before it starts ringing randomly. Anyway, it's loving. It's life. But anyway, so where have we been on a serious note?
Yani, we have been transition. Mainly it's my fault, but
guys, I'm not taking credit for this. It has been.
What do you mean?
Where have we been? Let me tell you. You know what had happened was this.
Yes.
What had happened was this. I remember when we started this podcast, we were both unemployed.
It's true.
Or rather, me, I was partially employed. I was partially employed. She was partially employed. So we had time. So when we started the podcast, I asked Natalie, Oma, are you sure this thing you'll be able to manage? She said, no, I went to SCAD. Sleep comes after death. We must do it. Sleep came and caught her. When in between somewhere there. And we realized mental health ilikuwa imetubeba sana. It had taken us and took us. So we decided we need to take a break, figure out things so that we can come back bigger and better. But Natalie, what is your version of that story?
No, my version of that story is prior to beginning this podcast, I believed myself to be invincible. You understand? And so with that in mind, it meant that I had a very poor disregard for myself as a human. I was always working with the approach of if you need to run your body down to get what needs to get done, that's what needs to be done. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, the consequence of good output is the sacrifice of your bodily and your mental health. That was the approach I was entering spaces in, because I was like, this is the grind. This is the things we might put in. And then I realized into it that you need your body to live. You understand?
God.
It's a foreign concept to me, but sometimes at some point in there, I just realized you need your
body. For you to make the output, you actually need to be existing in your body.
You need, this thing, this flesh is necessary. So when I realized the flesh is necessary, is when I really said, Jamani, if the flesh is necessary, we need to have a pace that makes sense.
Yeah.
You need to be able to say, okay, this is my capacity. I have reached my capacity. So now, having reached my capacity, this is what I can and cannot do.
Yeah.
So I had to make the call to prioritize myself, which was very difficult. And the thing that I was doing in that season over the podcast, because I couldn't do both efficiently.
Yeah.
That became the struggle. That's where we have been.
That's where we have been. Some of us, we have just been strategizing, trying to see other money-making ventures, going into other business streams. Actually, when you left us, we were one business streaming. Now we are 3 business streaming in the making. You'll know about that as we continue. Episode Zico, you eventually, usually you find out about these things as we move along. But anyway, I mean, it was interesting because I think for me, I was really struggling with the idea of being that podcaster who quits in between, because I've always been one to judge other podcasts that
see how life they carry you.
Hey, God
See how
humbled
life
me.
they carry
No,
you.
God humbled me. God humbled me in that me, I'm like, you guys, munacha katikati, you start, you finish, you don't finish. What are you doing? Then it was harder for me, I think, because it was not me per se who was making the podcast not like continue. So then it was that, I think we've not really talked about this, but it was like I was caught in that place of like, you're my friend, you're going through this thing, but then you had assured me you would be able to juggle, being that I had brought up the concern initially, because I think I had already foreseen the inexistence of your body as a result of you entering into the workforce, but you had not seen it yet, because it was that
it's not that I had not seen it there yet.
You knew you could conquer it.
No. I was willing to die for the cause. There's a difference. Like the place that I am today is very different than where I was. Where I was like, I'm gonna be a shell of a human, but Stacey's gonna be happy because she wants a podcast.
No.
So to me, I was like, that's the point. That's what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So at the time that I was saying that, I was very much in the run your life to the ground.
But where does that come from? Like, why?
I was like, therapy will solve it later. You see, this is me. I was like, look, this is why therapy is here. You do the shenanigans, you do the things, you destroy yourself.
Oh my God!
Then after that, you see, that's why a therapist is there.
It's like going to it's like you're living an unhealthy life, knowing exactly where you're going to take your money to the hospital. You know, the doctor will sort you out.
Exactly. That's basically
Jamaneni,
guys. There was somebody here to solve the issue. Jamani, why should I suffer? Because I knew I would be collected later. Somehow I would be collected.
And we spoke about this very briefly in, I think, season 2, of how we were caught in a rock and hard place in terms of like mental health, and how you found yourself having a mental breakdown somewhere. Remember we talked about this, and it was like, I thought that would have been the signal that God would have been like, it's about time, let me think. But no, she decided we must still. I think you pushed a little bit, but that was the first alarm that came in.
But I think after that, I definitely restructured how I did things.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I mean, at least I'm in a better place than I was then.
No,
even though it's not as good as I want it to be, but I'm in a better place than I was then. That was a bit savage. Anyways, we have delayed very long.
So anyway, we had to just give context. I think I really felt guilty, and I felt even if it means we spend a bit of time, we must give an explanation. We don't want to be like those socialites who decide they are gonna live their life how they're gonna live and not explain when things don't happen.
First of all, tunaitwanga socialites.
Socialites, how many influencers? We only have 300 followers.
Tuko tu kawaida folk. Yani tuko tu binadamu.
Sini binadamu. Lakini Natalie, tuendelee. What is our funke for today?
Our funke for today, in fact, let me get it so I can read it properly. Our funke for today is, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare.
Funke. Again, for the people in the back.
When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. It's too late to prepare.
Once opportunity comes,
it's too late.
It's too late to prepare. How has that like been evident in your life lately?
I feel like, I feel like what is the term I'm looking for? It's like luck values the prepared kind of thing, where it's like, if the opportunity comes and you don't have the skill set, you might get the opportunity, but the product of that might be worse. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might get it, you may decide, blah, blah, blah. But if you are not prepared for that phase of the place that you're in, it's not going to matter anyways.
Yeah.
Because you'll fumble. And you don't want to fumble when you have the ball. You want to catch it. When the pass comes, you want to catch the ball and not fumble it. I feel like, I don't know, I've been kind of operating in that mindset for many things in my life, but other things not. I don't know if I'm making
I'm
sense.
just remember the conversation we had, but just continue.
Like, because I think there's like 3 areas. There's like the career part, there's the
Like family,
spiritual part,
yeah,
and then there's the
relationship
part,
yeah,
right? So I've always viewed it as like we have to prepare for the career that we want. But also I feel like there's a point in time in which the preparation you are doing for your career is also not doesn't make sense in light of the holisticness of your life. For example, you can prepare to be a boss chick, right? But that preparation for a boss chick has consequences, right?
Yeah.
So you have to know the consequences of your decisions.
The cost benefit analysis.
You understand? Because you see, being a boss chick basically means that you're going to live a career, a life where you are invested in your work. If you live a life where you're invested in your work, it means your spiritual life will suffer and your community life will suffer, right? But when you think being a boss chick, you're not thinking of the side effects of solely branding yourself as that person alone. You understand? So, and then from a spiritual perspective, I don't think I necessarily had a vision of where I wanted to be spiritually. I always was like, Yanni, just read your Bible, pray every day if you want to grow. Let me tell you, like, and then it was a thing where you were always finding yourself in doing your devotionals is the height of spiritual preparedness. Like we are working at very low levels because you know one thing when opportunity comes in this case is like if somebody comes to you and they need prayer, right?
Wow.
You need somewhere to tap from. Jameli, where will you tap from if
you can't give what you don't have?
Exactly. You haven't even been preparing for an opportunity where
to minister to them.
Like somebody needs a word of encouragement and you need to have your own wisdom can help, but ultimately for you to be able to like speak in somebody's life, like you and Holy Spirit had to have had some conversations in between. Some level of proximity so that you're able to tap into what God wants to say into that person's life and not just what your life experience is. You understand? So like I never had that for myself, like that vision of like, okay, when opportunity presents itself from a spiritual perspective, what are we going to do with that? What does that look like? What is the type of person I want to be? So that when that happens, I can tap into that, you know? And then from a relational perspective, I always knew I wanted community, but I was like, yeah, you know,
it's never that serious.
I thought community would find me. You know what I'm saying?
The way the husband will find you is the way community will find you.
Same way, the community will pop in. You understand? They will just come. You'll be like, community activate, and then community will happen. Have you seen that? Oh my God, there's this meme going around.
Yes,
from Family Feud.
No, I'm not seeing
the Bible edition.
Yes,
no, they're not the Bible. There's this crew. It was Family Feud and it was Pentatonics and another guy.
Yes.
So the chick comes in and she goes, to the podium on both sides. And then before she starts, she goes, Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Activate.
I think it's too familiar. It's true.
It's like hilarious. This chick is hilarious. Anyways, that's how I was reading it. I was like, it will activate at some point. I didn't realize the amount of intentionality that needs to happen for those things to kind of like come together as well.
It's true.
Also in terms of a relationship, I never considered the fact that you need to be meant. Okay, I considered it, but I didn't care. Like
Jamanedi.
Like I used to be like, I don't have the mental capacity, the emotional capacity to handle like Yanni, there's
water feelings.
I don't. It's not the water feelings. Like I know what I'm dealing with right now in terms of like my head is already occupied with the mental capacity to handle the stressful life I live. I don't have another corner in it for another mental capacity.
Another human.
It's like full. You understand?
Yeah.
And then I realized like at some point you need to declutter. You understand?
I'm hearing you.
Decant.
Yes. Decanting. If those guys who follow us, you know what decanting is.
Put things in boxes. You understand?
Yeah.
Like declutter your brain, declutter the space that you're in so that you can be mentally in a place to recognize the term I'm looking for. recognize. Exactly. Also, it's so funny. I was listening to The Same Room, which is fun. It's funnily similar to our show in a sense. Less hilarious. But it's it's two American chicks. I think it's the owner of the Shade Room.
Yeah.
Apparently, the owner of the Shade Room is a Christian. First of all, you know.
Hilarious.
But she has a talk show. It's like a girl talk show kind of a thing. Called, I think, The Same Room or something like that. Anyways, Yvonne Oji was on it. And she was talking about how as much as you're intentional.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I just had to. Our producer has decided she wants to sit down and then she knocks the camera. Jamanedi. We forgive you. Continue.
It's happening. And so she was talking about how, you know how, like, if you have a business plan, she's not computing behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh, we are just keeping it real. What has happened now? You're just in shock. Oh, she was injured.
You are injured.
Alikuwa anataka kujikuna mguu. Trying to scratch herself, then she hit the stool. But anyway, guys, we are keeping it real. That's why we are adulting for real. Anyway, continue.
But
we want orgy and
anyway, she was talking about how, like, you know, when you have a career move you need to make, in between, kuna steps you need to do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? From a relational perspective or community perspective, me, I was just like, yeah, steps zitanipata. You understand? Like, I don't understand. I just thought they would find me. You understand?
Yeah.
But I realized you have to actually
be intentional.
Does that make sense?
It's true. It's true 100%. Like, I feel like most of us tend to be prepared in one of the three areas or two of the three areas, but rarely are you prepared in three of the three areas. Because I feel like for me, family or rather the relationship aspect of preparedness, I feel like I had really prepared myself in that area in terms of now recognizing people who I connect with, realizing, okay, are the vibes happen? Like, can we build something together as friends in this thing, you know? Because obviously, once you're married now, your party Misha, that part is over. But even in my marriage, we are very intentional about not having your spouse be your only friend. Does that make sense? Like, to the point where I guess some people can judge and be like, hey manze, you guys, you are too yadi. You see, you should always be like sticking to your spouse like blue band and mukate. You know, like blue band and bread, you are just there with them. But I think for us, we've found a way, or at least I've found a way of tapping into different, I don't know, like just recognizing when somebody's a quality human being. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that was the first thing. But when you talked about the spiritual one, which I had not even thought about, I was like, am I spiritually prepared to encourage somebody when they are in spiritual deficit, like when they are stressed or when they need encouragement? And you know, I still even have like some people who still like DM me when like they're going through depression or things like that. And you have to have that bandwidth to do the thing, you know. But from a career standpoint, hey Apple, that's where we have failed the exam. We have failed the exam. We have failed.
Yani mock zilikuja nikapita tukaanguka.
We failed it. Let me tell you. But there's one thing I'm learning, and that's what I learned like literally last week. There's a book I was reading, and they were saying the capacity, or like the, how do I put it? How you view yourself will translate basically on the opportunities that come. Let me give a better example. For example, if let's say now I'm doing La Patisserie de Joie, then a company comes and tells me they want me to supply all their shops, because that thing is threatening how I view myself, which is somebody who is just minimum wage. Like I've never viewed myself. I know even my husband is always like, he almost got tired of encouraging me. I told him, babe, don't get tired, please. because like
in due
time, and that book by has changed like how I viewed things, because I realized whatever threatens how you view yourself, you will either sabotage it or you will avoid it. So in this case, whenever a big opportunity comes, I will say no, I'm declining, I'm not that good, let me, because that is what I view myself. If I had viewed myself as somebody who is capable of achieving and is capable of doing the work, even if maybe I may not know how to do it 100%, I will still be able to get those opportunities. So on top of that, if you think about an opportunity that has come your way but yet has threatened your comfort zone, like when your comfort zone has been threatened, even if the opportunity has come, you might end up sabotaging that opportunity because you still have not gone to a mental capacity where you can actually like you view yourself as a person who can achieve that. So he was saying that it can be both positive and negative, the same way we're discussing now with you. Like there's this life decision that you are trying to make, but the right path, not just when Samanga Jesus put for you the life and death, choose. So you have been given the right path, but the problem is this path is threatening your whole identity as Natalie Omar.
It's not,
and then the easy path is death, but it is the comfort zone. So it's a matter of also sitting as a young adult and being like, okay, this opportunity, it might be threatening the identity or the comfort zone or the familiar that I know, but you need to now get to a point where you can recognize if it's still, even if it's good for you, you need to work on doing the harder version because you now have seen what is on the other side, and that you can actually just take the courage and like just do the thing. Yeah.
Also, in terms of, there was a question we were having around how do you manage the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, in light of, you are in prep. You're in prep now, but there's the vision. There's a vision. One of the things that Mike Todd really said that really is just
Funke. It was a Funke moment.
Vision is what you see with your eyes closed. Wow. Meaning when you open it, reality hits you. It's not. It's vision is not the it will not find you in the everyday life. Ni kama unapelekwa to the mountain top to see what is out there.
Yeah.
Tena unarudi tu chini down,
and then real life hits you.
Just now you have seen. The problem is now you have been brought to the mountain top. You have seen now, but you have to go back down
to now apply
upwards. But you don't know how you will.
The gap. There's a gap in between what he has shown you and where you are physically.
And then you realize some of these things it's more about everyday things than it is about like the final output. Yeah. I think it's more about the culture you build for yourself. Does that make sense? I feel like this word culture keeps popping up in our podcast, to be honest. We use this word. It's about the culture you put, like who you proclaim yourself to be. Right? Like I think some of those things also trickle down in terms of how I think for me it's the things that were said about us.
Yeah.
That ended up forming our culture. Like my dad always used to say, like, if you hire an woman, you've made a mistake, because this person, like nobody can outwork an woman, nobody can do the level of excellence an woman can do. And that's always been it's not like, it was not a discovery or whatever. It was something that was always told us.
Yeah.
To a point, it became our identity in a way where you just knew this is how we execute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what, and in the everyday things, I think for me, I had to come to a point where I had to ask myself, and it was learned the hard way, because sometimes you end up doing something that you don't want to do from an ethical point of view, because because pressure and stuff, and then you realize, I don't like the person I'm becoming, knowing what I've done. You understand? And then now you're like, man, if this was the prep for how my character would be at 10 times the stakes, when there's that much more involved in terms of my ethics.
Yeah.
You see, now I've failed the exam because if I'm not able to be faithful at this rate with what I have, what is to say that when I get there now,
10 million
is what is going to matter. You understand? So it's the everyday thing for me is kind of what is becoming more of like a reality. Habits.
No, I hear you. I think for me, as of now, like actively, for me the preparation is just in renewing my mind. That's like the active thing, because I realized it's so weird, because I wouldn't say I grew up with like low self-esteem, but when I got older, that's when I actually realized that the way I view myself, yeah, okay, let's just put it in a spiritual way. The way I view myself is not how God views me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like there's the potential God has given me, and then I just take that, divide by 100,000 minus 50, divide by 20. That's where I've reached. You know what I mean? So like everybody else is seeing my potential, but then looking back, I felt like it was always like that. Even from high school, we were talking to my mom the other day, and she was like, even in high school, teachers always used to say, the potential is there, but actualizing, it's like there's something that happens. And I think it came from now the way I already viewed myself as a person. So for me, the preparation right now, from where I am to where I want to go, is just in renewing my mind and actually just reminding myself that I am, I was going to use a different word, but like I am the person.
You are the ish.
I'm the ish. I was literally going to say I'm the ish. Yeah, you know, like
there's that TikTok. I have that.
I have not even had it. Oh, I don't give up about it. It's not that one.
I need to find it guided. Add it to this place.
Okay, so we need to finish this episode.
Anyways, how's your heart? Up on your two, we need to go to.
How's my heart? No, my heart is good. I think I'm like, we are really in a place in our lives where we have adulted. We are in mid-20s, my friend.
Yeah.
I met you when I was 20.
Yeah, it's true.
Tunaelekea that hivi na tuangalia tu hivi that na tuangalia. But I feel like if you think about the people we have been or we were, like the version of Natalie who I met when we were in Miami, who was studying for exams.
I have PTSD from that experience. I remember being on the floor of a bedroom.
This chick was studying the whole time. We were there for Shadow's graduation. That whole time, because I think I even helped you study that time. I was asking you questions.
And then we were robbed.
Hey, no, that was not the one.
That's not the one
hey,
we were robbed.
Yeah, you mixed up the life events together.
God.
It was after we went to Miami for Shadow's graduation. That is when now I first met you, Vizuri. So, anyways, the version of Natalie, I think at 20, is not the version of Natalie at 26. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we have evolved, and I feel like even for me, as I'm approaching 26 in like a few weeks, I feel like I want to start living in moments. Like I know this pastor, Life Church, Craig Groeschel, he shared something so deep the other day where he was like, life is about living in the moments and creating moments. Like I feel like the last time I could remember a moment was like 6 years ago. Like a moment. Like I feel like I've always been living in the next. You know what I mean? Like you're in school, you think about the next exam. In whatever, like you're not embracing the moments that are coming in life. So I remember the other day, we were even on the phone with you last Sunday, and I was telling you, how did I become 26? How did I get it? How did I? Like I feel like I've been having an out of body experience of my life, but I'm living it. So like I'm trying to get to a point where I can like take it all in on a daily basis and not like try and look for like the highlight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
How's my heart? My heart, I'm at a place in my life where I need to make tough decisions.
Guys, you'll know what these decisions are very soon. Very soon.
I need to make tough decisions.
Continue.
I need to make some tough decisions, and looking at how to make those decisions, I think ultimately my fear is that I make the wrong move sooner than expected, and I miss the lesson that was supposed to be learned in that season. And for me, I'm like, it would be so unfortunate to pass a season too quickly and then have to learn the lesson anyways.
But are you telling me at this point you feel like you've not learned the lesson?
I feel like
you have not learned the lesson.
I feel like yes.
Guys, we need press. Natalie needs press.
That's where I'm at. I think though I'm in a better place in terms of managing my anxiety. It's been on and off though. I don't know. I don't even know if I have a metric anymore because I've had some great weeks. I have some terrible weeks. But I'm trying to find the in between. I think the one place I'm happy about is where my spiritual life is at. I've been so consistent, way more consistent than I've been actually for the last many years. I think last time I was this consistent in my spiritual life, I was in high school. I really was. I was in high school.
Don't worry, I'm just behind. I'm watching you here, so I'm behind as we continue.
You know, and I think that was just like the intentionality of doing what works for me. I would recommend the Abide meditation app, even though Nikulipa. It's only.
I saw the price. I said it's okay.
You know,
I was like, Bible, pray every day.
I was like, for the cost benefit analysis, because you see, basically, depending on how busy you are, every day you have the option. There's a topic. You can either do the 2-minute version, the 5-minute version, the 10-minute, the 5, 10, 15, or 30-minute version. Depending on how much time you have.
Maybe I should do that.
So sometimes I'm like, I have 2 minutes from here to work. Transit is the time I need. Sometimes I'm like, kuna jam, so this is 15. Gonna be like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Sometimes I'm like, it's a weekend and I have actually time to sit and stew in these juices. So I can do 30 minutes. And those 30 minutes are more like having to introspect and, you know, meditate and whatnot. So I found it to be actually quite helpful in that sense. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome, guys. So this is us. We are so happy to be back. In fact, there's a time I just told Natalie, guys, I just need to talk. It's been so long. I have not talked. I just need to talk. So, like, I'm just so excited that we are back. Hopefully, pray for us. We will be more consistent. But we are trying. We have not forgotten you. We have not left you hanging. We are still on this adulting journey. So, if you have not followed us, tell your friend.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Instagram, adulting_for_real. Don't email us, guys. We have realized we have the email, but we cannot view the email. DMs, we must respond. DMs, we will definitely respond. Email, if it's endorsement, we will look at it. But otherwise, it's a complique. So, guys, yes, this is us. Until next
Tell
week.
them where they can find us.
They told them Instagram.
Where?
They told them Instagram adulting_for_real. A producer Sidiliseba. Producer is my witness. Adulting_for_real. Facebook, not so active. Instagram, very much active. TikTok, hopefully we might begin doing it. But of course, emails. Let me just say, email is adulting without a G, at gmail.com.
Yes.
But generally, DMs on IG, you will find us there. So, yeah, guys, until next time.
We hope this email finds you. Or doesn't find you in case you don't want to be found. But, yes. So, see you all next time.